In chapter 1, she is a normal person in insane circumstances, trying to understand and come to terms with what she's going through. In chapter 2, she has to choose to survive. So you're watching a person slowly lose pieces of themselves and their humanity in order to kind of be okay with murder.
What's up, everybody? I'm coming to you from the red carpet of The Strangers Chapter 2, the latest entry in the iconic home invasion horror series. I'm here to talk to some of the stars and filmmakers about behind-the-scenes stories, as well as ask some fun, strangers-related questions like, what would your stranger's mask be? I'm Ryan Coltrera from JoBlo.com, and I am in terrible danger. Someone please help me. So, without giving too much away, what can audiences expect of your character's journey in this film?
In Strangers Chapter 2, Maya has to go on a wild ride from, in chapter 1, she is a normal person in insane circumstances, trying to understand and come to terms with what she's going through. In chapter 2, she has to choose to survive. So you're watching a person slowly lose pieces of themselves and their humanity in order to kind of be okay with murder. And so in chapter 2, she's struggling with this loss of herself to get to where we need to get to in chapter 3.
Horror fans such as myself love scenes of crazy intensity, and you yourself have been through quite a few of them through this series, I'm sure. What has been the biggest challenge for you as an actress as far as a scene to film?
It's actually in this movie. I'm not allowed to talk about it. Well, when you see it, you will know exactly what film or what scene I'm talking about. I promise.
And were there any moments that genuinely scared you, even though you might have known they were coming?
Honestly, all of them. I mean, I got so lucky with this cast where they really genuinely wanted everything to feel real and for the tension to be really palpable. So I was genuinely scared every time you see me scared on screen. And
lastly, just a couple rapid-fire strangers questions. Which of the three strangers would you least want to face up against?
Scarecrow, obviously, is the biggest.
If they were at your door, would you run, fight, or hide?
Oh, maybe I'd run. If I have somewhere to go, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna hide from them. They're too smart and I can't fight them.
And lastly, this series is known for its iconic mask work. If you yourself could design a stranger's mask, what would you be wearing?
I did design a stranger's mask. It's just not in the movie. I would put hearts on my cheeks.
So for starters, for our audience watching this, what does Chapter 2 do to build on what you have set up in Chapter 1, without spoiling too much?
Well, to be honest, there was a certain frustration in making Chapter 1 because, in essence, it was kind of a remake of the original movie, which we all love and respect. But we had to do it to lay down the groundwork to where we wanted to go with the second and third chapters. So in the second chapter, we get to break out of that house, go out into the world, make the setting and the canvas much more epic, and explore our main character much deeper, and also explore a little bit what these strangers really are, where are they coming from.
And one of the things I really love about your work is each one of your films have a very distinctive visual style and language. I wanted to know kind of what inspired the look and tone of these films for you.
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that my movies have a visual language, because I do think about these things a lot, and I do study movies and look for inspiration and try to give every movie their unique look, whether it's an action movie or a horror movie. And I can't say any direct inspirations. Of course, my inspirations go back to Hitchcock and all the classics of the thriller genre. But I can't say anything, any specific movie that really kind of gave me the signposts for this one. I just tried to take all the movies that I've loved and look for language that would translate this story best to the screen.
And you have dove into horror a couple times in the past. Were there anything from those experiences that you took into this as kind of a learning experience or something that inspired you to try something different?
I definitely think that there are certain tricks to making a horror film. I compare horror to comedy. They are kind of like the flip side of the same coin. And the same way as if you're telling a joke, you have to set it up, then you have to build it up, and then you have to surprise your listeners with the punchline. Same way in horror, you have to set up the situation and then build up the tension, and then hopefully twist it all around and surprise the viewer in the end. So I think that's one thing that I've learned from my past experiences, and also what I've learned is that you have to lead the audience with a very steady hand on a certain path. And sometimes you kind of give them exactly what they expect, and sometimes you give them the opposite. But either way, you just have to sort of keep your audience entertained.
And lastly, what do you hope audiences are talking about when they walk out of seeing this film?
I hope that the audience, when they walk out of this movie, will talk about how surprising it was and how interesting the direction where we are taking these characters is, and how they can't wait to see the third one to really know what is going on.
What first drew you to joining this franchise?
I think horror's having its time. Like I have been loving what I've been seeing in theaters, and I'm so grateful to be part of this sort of wave of people who are really showing up in theaters to be scared. And The Strangers have such a fan base that I'm very excited about, and so I think that is something I'm very grateful for.
These films are known for having a great deal of intensity. Do you have any sort of ritual to get yourself into the mindset for certain scenes that require that extra push?
That's a great question. I think lack of sleep is great. I think people are a bit delirious when they're running on no sleep. I think just happenstance, the way we've been filming this has been with lack of sleep. Hopefully that has gotten great people and great performances.
And lastly, this film is kind of known for its iconic masks. If you yourself could design your own Stranger's mask, what would it look like?
I think really large eyes and no mouth. I think Orphan, the movie Orphan, I once was in an audition and someone was like, "You look exactly like Esther," and I was like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I would design a mask like kind of like that.
What inspired your take on The Strangers that caused you to look at it and go, let's break this into 3 distinct chapters and really dive back into this world?
Well, we loved the first, the Brian Bertino movie, but it was an opportunity to say, let's take this as a jumping off point for 3 movies that take place not years apart, but take a similar concept and then say, how do we expand this outward into a town and what goes on, and then also the characters, and dive a little deeper into the characters, not just the strangers, but also people in town and who can you trust and who can't you trust.
And as a writer, when you approach these projects, what do you think makes for an effective scare in a scene? How do you build those?
I think, they come in a lot of different ways, and it is interesting. It's a great question. Sometimes it's unexpected, like, you think you're going to be scared of something and it isn't. We're leading down a path. And other times it's you think you're safe and then something comes out of left field. So we try to, I think it's important to have different kinds of scares in the movies, and also to keep you on your a little off balance so you don't expect anything.
Which of the 3 strangers would you least want to face up against?
They're all very, very scary to me because they all have their own way. I think, while people would say Scarecrow, Pinup Girl is really devious. So I'd be a little scared of her.
And if one of them knocked on your door, would you fight, hide, or run?
I'm gonna put like Maya did in the movie, that chest of drawers is going in front of that door. I'm going back to look for a weapon, and I'm looking for a way out.
And lastly, to put you in their shoes, if you had to design your own Stranger's mask, what would it look like?
Wow. I'm as a guy who played a lot of hockey growing up, and as an adult, we can't use the hockey mask because that has been used. But it would probably be something that is a little related to a combination of a hockey mask and maybe the burlap bag from Scarecrow.
I play Neil. I'm a guy from the town, so I live there. My wife is Eden, and without getting into any trouble, that's all I can say. I will say I appear in all 3 chapters, so that's very nice, and get to see the story from the beginning to the end.
If the strangers were to knock at your door, which of your former co-stars would you want to team up with to take them on?
Can I include a stranger? I mean, I'll just say Dollface. Dollface is so iconic, I think, that it's surprising to see such a sweet face involved in this terror, right? So I would team up with Dollface, yeah.
Turning them against themselves. That's twisted. I like it. If you yourself could design a stranger's mask, what would yours look like?
You know what? It would look like a wolf. Dark, can hide in the shadows. So there you go. You got camouflage on top of just being scary.
Is there something you do to get yourself in a certain headspace to prepare for those moments where you really got to go over the edge?
Yeah, I mean, I think with those moments, you just got to remember that you're doing fiction, that this is a movie. you still gotta try to like get to those like real feelings of like scare or violence, whatever side you're on for a movie like this one. But I really think that grounding yourself and like remember that this is your job and you don't need to like go truthful, but get out of it.
So we just heard the exciting news that you guys are about to take a dive into horror yourselves. I was wondering if you could kind of tell me about what the story is for Don't Open the Door.
Can't tell you the whole story, but we can keep a little bit.
Don't open the door.
Yeah, the story is pretty amazing. It is a original story that takes place in the South Central LA. Deals with, I don't want to give it away because it's so cool, but I would say that the Don't Open the Door is a metaphor for a much bigger conversation inside the culture. So I think we got something really, really special. And obviously having my brother with me on this film, Tyrese, is a phenomenal thing for me as a filmmaker.
When they did Fatale, I got really expensive at the time. I told him, I'll take some layaway payments on this one. Chick-fil-A sandwich with cheese. It's in the contract. And listen, I'm a big fan of Joe Blow. You guys are always in the game and keeping a watchful eye on all the things that's moving and all the energy in the comments. Don't open the door. It's my first time jumping in the genre and the space. The director to my left is a bully, Deon Taylor. He forced me on the plane from Atlanta. I was at home. I had a Pomeranian, but was super furry. We just got it a haircut. I was just really enjoying just being isolated. And now I'm in LA on a red carpet at a movie premiere. And Don't Open the Door is the name of the movie. And we are here. He said, you got to come to this premiere, The Strangers, Part 2. And I just have to say, Lionsgate has my heart. So I'm honored to be here to support The Strangers.
Thanks.
What were some of the biggest challenges and rewards from shooting 3 films back to back like this?
I think the challenge is always, you realize that we didn't shoot this we shot everything out of sequence. So the challenge is both keeping up with the storytelling, the editing, the direction, the scenery, and of course the script. But the opportunity, this sort of television mentality, which came from me from years of doing television series, is that we created something, I think, where you got a lot of momentum. You didn't have to get the actors back a year later, 2 years later. Everyone was carrying this like it was one big movie. And I think that really carried over well.
If you could design your own stranger's mask, what would you be wearing?
Well, I did design these masks, and I thought the originals were so great. But if I was doing my own stranger's mask, and I might say I might have designed some other ones too along the way already. Maybe not, okay? So I would put like a different hair color on them. I might even put a little scarring on the face a bit. And on some other ones, I might actually take something and put like an actual heart and call that one something like Sweetheart. They're so iconic because what they did was a random act of violence. It was so shocking to everybody. And that, it just stuck with everybody and was like, that could really happen to us. And that's a different type of horror.
As a fellow Ryan, I was bummed out to see what happened at the end of the first without spoiling too much. What do you think it is about the Strangers films that give them their staying power in pop culture?
So it was so scary to have this concept of the killer without any inkling of motivation, right? There's an anonymity behind the mask of what's going on, just the senselessness of it is something that's really shocking and really horrifying because I think if violence happens, we hope that there's a purpose for it. And the fact that sometimes there's not is something that is really hard to grapple with as a human. And so, I think The Strangers as a franchise has explored that and explored what that looks like and where that fear sits,
If you could design your own Stranger's mask, what would you wear?
I have to represent Mexico and go for a luchador mask. I think that would be the fun. Yeah, that would be the fun one.
I think just the idea behind the strangers. I think having someone watch you inside of your house is fearful no matter what. No matter what, if it was 20 years ago and we didn't have cell phones to now, even if we have cell phones, just the idea of someone breaking in and I think watching over you is fearful any day and age, and I think will be 50 years down the line as well too. So I think they've done a really good job of encapsulating that kind of feel.
If there was a group of strangers at your door, a la this film, what is the first thing you reach for to defend yourself?
I feel like I gotta grab like a fireplace, like stoker or something like that, because I need something that gets them at least a couple feet away, especially because all of their weapons are axes and knives and things like that. There's no guns, so I need something that I can push back against. Yeah.
And lastly, this series is known for its iconic masks. If you had to design your own stranger's mask, what would you wear?
Oh my God, that's a great question. I want to wear something that looks really realistic so that nobody knows who I am on the inside versus out. So I think something along the veins of that. I don't know, I think of like Ed Gear and like all those characters where it's like, you know, someone else's face. I think that's what I would go for.
From JoBlo.com, I have been Ryan Coltrera. Thanks for watching, and remember, do not answer the door.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo remains an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.